want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em a shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no else, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now? Foot on the gas, can slow down. No, my team, we holding it down. We know we running it now. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.
Welcome to another edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy Mac, and tonight our Cleveland Cavaliers took on the Golden State Warriors, or what was left of them after basically every true big rotation piece, whether it be Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, you name it, they were all out. We already know the story. We already know what it's going to be with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Obviously, they're dealing with injuries in their own right, but this, in my opinion, was an unacceptable loss. Honestly, I am not going to spend a bunch of time on stream tonight, and I do not blame you guys if you want to check out early. All I will begin or start off by saying is that these two teams were absolutely atrocious right out of the gate. This was an absolute brick off. I mean, it was a mid-fest, man. These teams had a mid-off. They truly, truly did. I don't even know where to begin in terms of my notes for tonight. It's just it was a bad performance. Bad all the way around after a pretty convincing victory just last night. And that first quarter was a very telling. It was a very telling start to the game as each team committed multiple turnovers and both failed to score even 20 points. And they were incredibly efficient. After the first quarter, I shit you not, the Cavaliers were shooting 28%. The Warriors were shooting 17%. You heard that right. Not 17% from 3-point distance, 17% from the fucking field. 5 turnovers over there, 4 turnovers on the Cleveland side, and it just did not get any better as the second quarter began. Actually, that first quarter was the lowest scoring first quarter in the entire NBA this season, and it was clear that this was going to be one of those games from the tip-off that was going to be ugly. It was going to be a horrific watch, but you could live with it as long as you walked away with a dub. And clearly the Cleveland Cavaliers did not, which makes it feel even worse. And again, it was just an absolute brick off. Whoever could build their house of bricks first was going to end up winning this game. We're losing it, to go with the analogy. But I just think at this point in time, I don't even know what to make of what I am watching. The Cavaliers had access to Darius Garland tonight. DeAndre Hunter was out there tonight. All right, we got a starting 5 of Darius, Donovan, Jalen Tyson as a 3, DeAndre at the 4, and Evan at the 5. And it was just some ugly ass basketball, some inefficient ass basketball. Donovan Mitchell tried to do his best to carry this team to victory. He even had a good look at the final shot attempt there to tie the game up, and it was for naught. Obviously, it did not work out, and we are now sitting here with a loss to a Golden State Warriors team that they had absolutely no business losing to. And so there is literally no excuses that can be made tonight for this team. I mean, the leading scorer for the Golden State Warriors was Pat fucking Spencer. And that is no disrespect to Pat Spencer. That's an incredible story that this man, the lacrosse player, the top lacrosse player in his time playing that sport. But still, the Cavaliers had more than enough talent to get over the hump here, even with the bad scoring. It was just bad. All you can do is just laugh at this point, because I don't even know what can be said about these continued disappointments that we call losses. We had our best players out there to a certain degree. Yeah, we already know who's out. We know Jarrett, Max, Sam, etc., etc. Alonzo did not play tonight, but you had more than enough, and you failed to get the job done. This was absolutely horrific. On the night as a whole, the Cavaliers took 107 attempts. They completed 34.6% of those. That is terrible. And what did we talk about just last night? The variance in terms of the three-point shot. Right after a game where they take under 30 triples, they come back right tonight and take 42. And guess what? They shoot 23.8%. 23.8%. I mean, what are we doing here? What the heck are we doing at this point in time? And thank God the Big Ten championship game is on right now as I got it up on my other screen here, getting ready to watch the second half. But I just it should not be this way. We should not be feeling this way about this team. We should not be feeling this way about individual players on the roster. It just feels like they are regressing before our very eyes. And I'm trying not to overreact too much to what we've seen, but it's impossible to ignore some of the things that we continuously see out there. One of which is the over-reliance on the threes. And I understand that is more, that there's more gray in that than simply, oh, you should take this many or you shouldn't take that many. Like, it's more gray than just black and white. But at the same time, you just saw what actually focusing on antagonizing the interior of a defense can do. And you fall right back into the comfortable trap of relying on that three-point shot because of who is out there. I don't want to pick on too many players in particular, but I do have to say I've been utterly disappointed with what we have seen from the likes of DeAndre Hunter as of late. DeAndre would finish the game 2 of 9 from the field, just 6 points. It's been really, really bad for DeAndre lately. And again, I'm trying not to overreact too much because he has more than enough time to turn things around, but something is not right with this dude at this moment in time. His shot is not falling. A lot of things are just not working for him from a defensive standpoint. It's probably been even worse. There are so many defensive lapses where he gets blown by, and I don't understand it because he has the profile, right? We've seen him even just last year. There were things, there were matchups last year where his defensive potential was seriously high with the Cavaliers. And I understand, like, coming off the tenure with Atlanta, his defensive chops were being labeled everything from trash to, this guy can't defend. But clearly he can be a good defender. I just don't know what's gotten into him as of late. We just have not gotten that same level of impact that we got in the 27 games that we saw from him last year. And to start off this season, it's been pretty bad. I know that at a certain point, you kind of have to just, hope for the best with him and being able to round it out. Because if we take things a game at a time, we're probably going, if we overreact to specific things game to game, we're probably always going to be ready to pull our hair out. And you guys know I love to try and be as optimistic as possible as it pertains to this team, but I can't sit here and act like I'm really optimistic about the direction that this team is heading in, because it's just bad. It looks bad. Tonight was a genuine opportunity for the Cleveland Cavaliers to start to string together a small win streak, and they let it go by the wayside. This was a perfectly winnable game. This was not a trap game, in my opinion. A lot of people would love to label it that, but no, the Cavaliers need every single victory they can get. They need every single advantage they can get with the way that they have played to begin this season. You got to figure out a way to string together more than a few victories. It can't be this one and then lose 2 and then win 1. It's very, very inconsistent, just like the players themselves have been for the bulk of this season. There have been a few standout performers, a couple of bright spots. I keep continuously highlighting what we've seen from Jalen Tyson, who finished with a double-double tonight. 11 points, 11 rebounds for Jalen Tyson, 5 of 12 from the field. Not as efficient as we've seen him be this year, and certainly not as efficient as he was last night. but I continue to be impressed, especially on the glass, by one Jalen Tyson. He looks like the real deal. He looks like one of the best picks of the 2024 draft relative to where he was selected. So I think they've gotten really good value out of Jalen Tyson so far. I think that outside of that, I don't really have much else kind to say about tonight's performance. I thought that Naquan Tomlin did as good as he could do, and he pulled down 12 rebounds tonight and his damn self. But there just wasn't a lot that I could look at from tonight's game and say, oh, yeah, this team is trending upward, because honestly, that is just not the case. We continue to it's one step forward, two steps back. And I know you guys probably feel the exact same way as I do, which is what makes this so damn irritating. It feels like we'll have a game, we'll have a performance in which the Cavaliers are finally able to look like a competent team, and then they fall back into familiar territory. It is just so infuriating to watch on a night-to-night basis. And at this point in time, like, there's little in terms of movement that they can really facilitate unless they really break things up, which I'm not even gonna attempt to advocate for that right now. We're not at that point. But the time is running out, the runway is running out, and I think that fans obviously, and to a degree, rightfully so, are tired of seeing this product. I know for damn sure I am. And I just don't think that's something that can be argued any other way around. I think that it's perfectly fine to be upset with what we have seen from this team, from a schematic standpoint, from an effort standpoint, from a coaching standpoint. It just, in all major categories here, even even down to the play style here, it's been bad. It's been inconsistent. It's been very, very infuriating continue to watch. And so there just is not much right now that appears to be going this team's way. They have a long layoff. They will not play again until Friday, if I'm not mistaken, against I think the Washington Wizards, due to the NBA Cup stuff. But that hurts even more, because now we got to go into this long layoff with this loss that should have never occurred in the first place. And hopefully they use that time to try and right themselves mentally, and get back in and get back in the lab. But this just feels really, really bad right now. It just feels off. I just do not know what else can be said, what else can be done. At this point in time, the Cavs have to be better. They really just have to be better. I'm not here to beat the drums of trade this player, trade that player. I see that in the comments. I'm not going to do that. I'm not falling into that trap just yet. I think that you should always keep your ear to the phones and whatnot, and listen on offers if you're receiving them. But at this point in time, the Cavaliers, for better or worse, this is the team, this is the roster that they are going to be playing with for the foreseeable future, at least this year, this season, outside of maybe a few minor moves. Maybe they elect to trade Lonzo Ball around the deadline. I don't see that happening just because of his expiring. Maybe they elect to move off of Dean Wade because of his expiring, but even those, that's not a given. For better or worse, this is likely the team that we are working with. And here's the thing, like, for the people that are asking for trades right now, their trades will be getting guys back healthy. That's probably how they are going to view it. Getting Max Strus back, that is better than any trade that they could likely make this year. And yes, theoretically, from a theoretical standpoint, you can argue that, yeah, Jarrett Allen or Darius Garland or whatever, what have you, could get you some type of good return, but they're not going to do that. They're not doing that unless it's for a Giannis. Unless Giannis is coming back, they're not moving either of those guys. So I think that when you look at trades, and this is the point that I'm trying to make to you folks down here. I see y'all yapping in the chat down here. It's not about going out and trying to make a move that is going to make the Cavaliers better. Because I can tell you right now, they're not moving those guys. He's not, in regards to Strus, he's not going to fix their issues, but Strus will bring a punch back to the Cavaliers that is missing right now. Getting Sam Merrill, a player that is missing right now, that's actually a lot bigger than people want to give him credit for. So I think you guys actually need to take a second, get off of your phones, and just listen to what I'm saying to you. Getting these guys back is better than any trade that they're likely to pull off this year. Unless it's Giannis, that's not happening. So getting Jarrett Allen back, getting Max Strus back, getting Sam Merrill back, 3 key pieces of the Cavaliers rotation as it currently stands, that's bigger for the continuity of this team and for what this team is going to be able to do than any trade that they're likely to pull off. That's just the reality of the situation that they are in right now, unless they go after a Giannis, which just does not seem likely at this point in time, because that would probably mean that Evan Mobley is on the table in moving him. I just don't see that. They're not going to make a huge trade. That's not going to happen. Getting those guys back is bigger than anything that they could do. And so there's no use in sitting here and crying about how the Cavaliers need to go out and make a move. And to that, I would say, instead of going the lazy route, which a lot of people do tend to do, throw some trade ideas out there. I will more than happily listen to them. But that's where I put a little bit of pressure back on you guys. Do some research. Go out there, see if the numbers actually work. And get back to me on that. Because if it's not Giannis, I just don't see the Cavaliers actually pulling strings on a needle-moving trade this year. It's not going to happen. And to some of these comments down here, we can dig into that real quick before we get out of here. As Dinho says, get Garland off the fucking team. For who? For what? Don't you fucking dare say LaMelo Ball either. Don't even let that come off your lips or out of your keyboard. Don't even try it. Yes, from a monetary standpoint, it works, but that shit doesn't make the Cavaliers better. LaMelo Ball is not a winning player. There's not a lot of moves out there that this team can make. So give me something. Give me something. And we'll talk it through. We'll talk it through. But I just think that people be saying this shit right now. And again, right now, that's why I'm putting pressure on you right now. I don't know who's right now. He's a non-factor. Exactly. If you're going to shout trade, give me some fucking ideas. I'm tired of hearing this stuff. And then, as he also says, addition by subtraction at this point. No, it is not addition by subtraction. Clearly, you have not watched this Cavaliers team struggle with dribble penetration, with Lonzo Ball at times, and with others being unable to get into the interior. Darius has not played great basketball. But one thing I can tell you is that you're not getting better by simply removing Darius Garland. You're not getting better by simply removing Darius Garland. To JDS, who says, who's going to be a winning player on the Hornets? Listen to me. It's not just that he's not a winning player. It's also the fact that he is not a healthy player as well. He's not a healthy player. People love to shit on the Cavaliers about their inability to stay healthy. Go Google how many games LaMelo Ball has missed. Lonzo has missed a lot of games too, to be fair. Go Google how many games LaMelo Ball has missed in the same tenure that Darius Garland has played. He's not a winning basketball player. Darius Garland, for that matter, was playing winning basketball before the Cavaliers even got to the playoffs, if that makes sense. Darius Garland has an issue in regards to staying healthy. LaMelo Ball has that twice over. So, no, if you're going to move Darius Garland from the LaMelo Ball, you actually got to think about that. No, I'm not doing that. Look at the antics that he's pulling off right now. He just came out the other fucking locker room with the Toronto Raptors just the other day. And again, I don't know if he was trolling. I don't know the context behind that, but he clearly has never truly played a winning brand of basketball. And we can talk about, oh, well, nobody does that in Charlotte. But listen, everything that you can say about Darius Garland in regards to health, they apply to LaMelo Ball 10 times over. Ball is not a great defender. He's not a great upgrade there, despite having the size there. And he's a hell of a lot less efficient. As Dino says, Mac DG gets injured like every playoffs. Brother, go look at how many games LaMelo Ball has played over the past 5 seasons. We can talk about DG being Mr. Injury. We can talk about how many games DG has missed. I can guarantee you, if you pull your calculator out right now, LaMelo Ball has missed twice as many games as Darius Garland has. Would you really want to trade Darius Garland for a version that a player in LaMelo Ball that is going to miss probably twice as many games? Listen, I just think that people fall in love with theoretical talents. There are some players that are skilled basketball players. And I'll tell you this, LaMelo Ball is a skilled basketball player. That cannot be argued. He is a good basketball player from an individual perspective. But he's inefficient as hell. He misses a ton of time, and he doesn't play winning basketball. The most games LaMelo Ball has played over the past 5 seasons since 2020, 21, 22, 47 games. Darius Garland played 75 last year. I mean, literally, Darius Garland played more games just last season than LaMelo Ball has played in the last 3 years. I just think people don't think these things through. I love the fact that people want to improve, and I'm all for improving. If you have a real deal out there that makes sense from a monetary standpoint, throw it at me. And LaMelo Ball, again, that works from a monetary standpoint, but from an court perspective, from a fit perspective, that shit don't make any sense at all. I think people just like names. They just like names. LaMelo Ball would not be the guy to move him for. I just think people don't be thinking before they actually say stuff. I just think people have to do a little bit more research on that. HJ17 Game says, didn't the Spurs offer Devin Vassell and Castle for DG this offseason? I think that was one of the rumors that were floated out there this year. And I think the Cavaliers were probably hesitant to actually do that based upon how much Darius Garland meant to them from an orchestration standpoint. I think that we just have to. Giannis would probably be the only move the Cavaliers would feel comfortable with moving a Darius Garland level player for at this point in time. A healthy Darius Garland is legitimately a top 12, close to top 10 point guard in this NBA. He led a historic offense just last year. I mean, how quickly people forget certain things. And again, he's not somebody who's untradeable. There's nobody on this roster that's untradeable. Nobody. That includes Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. But those two are obviously the closest to being untradeable. So Darius Garland is a distant third. You get a good enough offer, anybody can be moved. Don't. You guys are smarter than that. Come on. LaMelo Ball don't make sense. Devin Vassell and Stephon Castle, in theory, sound fun, but Castle is pretty young player, not necessarily somebody that I think the Cavaliers entering a championship contending season would want to try and make a move for. I don't think that would have been the right move either. I just don't think. I know that people want to be able to say that you should always be looking to improve a team, but it's a lot harder than it sounds. For better or worse, this is the team that the Cavaliers have working, that will have employed right now. And we may not be quote unquote contenders at this point in time. And that's fine. What if I said the last 3 streams? Don't focus on finals. Don't focus on the playoffs. Focus on getting back to winning basketball. To Caden, I'm just saying, or Caden just saying, or Caden JS says down here, we are not contenders. Listen, it's not about being contenders right now, but The where you can literally fall off right now is making a panic move, like trading for a LaMelo Ball, which would be a terrible trade. Absolutely horrific trade. And if you're moving Darius Garland to get LaMelo Ball. You may not view the Cavaliers as contenders, and that's fine. We don't look like contenders right now. I have no problem admitting that. But I don't think you get better by simply just making a move just to make a move. There has to be validity behind that. I don't know. I think that at this point in time, I think that, and yes, as they know, it can get much worse. Fall off. Can it get any worse? Yes, it can get worse. Please tell me you have watched the Clippers this year. Please tell me you have watched some of these other teams over the years that have traded their stars too early, tried to kick off a rebuild too early, and did not wait for the right time. It can get much worse than it is right now. It only feels the way it feels right now because the Cavaliers are underachieving. And that's fine. The Cavaliers are underachieving right now. There's a good example right there. The Mavs and Luka, what they did, it's sending Luka out for Anthony Davis. What the fuck were they thinking? You don't want to end up like that. You really, really, really have to actually think about when the most opportune time is to make a move like that if you're going to do that. I just don't think that it's wise right now to entertain those big rebuilding, championship altering, or breaking up the big four in season. That's not something the Cavaliers are going to entertain this year. They'll do that this offseason as if they're going to do that. As Daniel also says, the Mavs are not a comp. We do not have a Luka level talent. It's not about having a direct comparison. The comp still sticks because it's about moving players too early. They moved off of Luka too early. You move Darius mid-season, that's moving Darius too early. Use your damn head. Caden says, what if this is just who we are as a T-Mac? That is certainly possible. But at this point in time, I'm not going to sit here and say how can we really know who the Cavaliers are if we don't or haven't seen the Cavaliers at full strength? The reality is that the Cavaliers have underachieved, but we still haven't actually seen the Cavaliers. We have not seen what the Cavaliers were meant to be this year because you don't have Jarrett Allen right now. You still have not seen 1 minute played from Max Strus. Sam Merrill is out. You have multiple players being injury managed. Darius misses every other game due to injury management. Lonzo Ball misses every other game due to injury management. There are so many different variables and factors in here that people are failing to actually take into consideration. Somebody out in your Parker X7W asks, do you think Strus and Merrill would change that much, though? I think yes. I think watch Max Strus from just last season, his impact in terms of continuity and structure with the bigs in particular, Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, especially Jarrett Allen, in terms of getting the bigs involved. What have we been saying all season? We don't attack the interior. We don't involve the bigs. We're taking too many threes. Guess what? Max Strus was a key cog in getting the bigs involved in the offense last year, especially Allen in terms of the DHO. There are so many different actions out there that he was involved in that resulted in the Cavaliers actually attacking the painted area. So yes, I do think people do not believe the people that do not believe Max Strus would have a huge impact on what we're seeing right now. You're not, I mean, listen, I say this with all due respect. Maybe you don't know as much as you think you do. If you don't think that Max Strus would impact this team or wouldn't change a lot, he definitely would. For one, Max Strus is a business. He's all about business. One thing that really sticks out to me over Max Strus's tenure in Cleveland, and you guys probably remember this. Last game of the season, I think this was 2 years ago. Against Charlotte. I think it was Charlotte, actually, which is funny. He goes out there and I think this is a game he had a triple-double in last game this season, and he's stoic as hell because the Cavaliers lose. This man is all about his business. I get the infamous game where he texted, final game against Indiana, where he texted the team and let them know, or, he conversate with the team and let them know that, they go out there and play their asses off essentially only to score 0 points, which looks terrible, was absolutely terrible in hindsight, but from a leadership standpoint was the right thing to do. But Max Strus would really, really, really would change things from an on-court perspective and a mentality standpoint, the effort. So you tell me, you watch Max Strus over these last couple of seasons, and you tell me that he would let some of this effort shit slide that we have seen. If nothing else, if you think that Max Strus doesn't bring a lot to the table in terms of impact, which is frankly stupid if you believe that. But even if you did, you tell me that Max would let some of this effort shit slide that's going on out there. And I see a lot of people in the chat talking about his game against Indiana. Listen, one game does not define a player. A lot of players have had terrible performances. A lot of players have had absolutely terrible performances that they have come back from. LeBron has had them. Michael fucking Jordan had them. Kobe Bryant has had them. Any great out there. And Max Strus is a role player. Obviously, he's not any one of those guys, not even anywhere close to being on their level. But the point still stands. Max Strus is a leader from a mentality standpoint. I don't know if you guys gotten a chance to actually watch or listen to the interview or read the article about it, but Jalen Tyson actually credited Max Strus with a lot of what he has been able to do this season, and just picking his brain and trying to emulate a lot of what he does. And so I think that goes to show you just how impactful he can be even without being out there. He's a veteran presence. He has championship experience from a finals, not championship experience. He has finals experience. He has been on deep playoff runs. He's been out there. Either way, all I'm trying to say to you guys is use your fucking heads. These are players that would actually be able to help Cleveland out really, really big time right now, because they are not players that would stand for some of this effort shit. Max Strus definitely ain't going to take the lackadaisical effort out there. He's going to call people out. He's going to put people in their places. Sam Merrill came out the gate sharpshooting, averaging damn near 50% from three-point distance. You think that ball movement and spacing would not help? Get the fuck out of here. You think that not having some of these pieces would not help? No. It does not make any sense. I think at this point in time, the biggest problem with that this team has had is that they just don't look engaged. They have the talent. It's there. It's always been there. Donovan Mitchell's talented as hell. Darius Garland, dealing with the injury right now, still talented as hell. I think DeAndre Hunter is still a very talented player in his own right. It's just the fucking effort that has been putrid, and it's been pissing a lot of people, including myself, off. But as Floyd Phillips II says down here, they just don't care. They just don't appear to care. And I don't want to put words in their mouths, but they just do not appear to care as much as we want them to. And I think that's perfectly good thing to illustrate. Floyd also says, Mac, 26 threes, win by double digits. Next game, 42 threes, lose to a G League team. Why hasn't the message been learned? I don't know, man. I want them to be able to find some semblance of consistency in terms of the three-point variance. And like I said, I don't think it is as black and white as simply they need to take X amount of threes in any particular game. I think, as I mentioned just last night, there is a sweet spot that you want to find most nights, maybe no more than 35 to 40 in that range. But not every game is going to operate the same. They're not as they're not always going to be the same. Sometimes it's going to require different things to win. Sometimes it might take you taking more attempts out there, especially if you're knocking them down. Sometimes if you have an advantage on the interior, it makes sense to continue to antagonize on the interior. Last night when they scored 80 points in the paint, it made sense because it continued to work. But that's not going to work every single night against every single opponent. You have to be exploitative of mismatches, of weaknesses, all these different things that you guys probably already know or should know. But what I'm trying to say here is there is no one like specific number the Cavaliers should stay to a T, but you probably shouldn't spam it when it's not working. And tonight, as has been the case most of the season, they got away from what was working in the early going, and that's antagonizing the interior of a defense. Evan Mobley is a matchup nightmare when they actually want to get him involved. They need to spam his opportunities more and more often, and that just does not happen. I know that doesn't really answer the question because there isn't really a good answer to that right now for this Cavs team. But what I can say is I think that it gets annoying to see them continuously hoist up these threes when the shots just are not falling. And so I hate that. I hate the fact that the Cavaliers, though having a player like Mobley who can crush teams in the paint, they don't get to their spots or they don't put him in good enough positions at times. And there have been times when Evan Mobley doesn't do it himself. And the dribble penetration, that's been something they've struggled with for a long portion of the season, but just have not managed to get consistency out of that as well. I just don't know, man. I'm struggling to find the logic behind hoisting up as many threes as they do, but that's where we are right now. But rather than beating a broken record, guys, I think I'm just gonna call it a night here before I get even more pissed as I'm watching this Big Ten championship game. It's just not going well either. So as always, tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, you know I can. It's Cavalier_pod at gmail.com if you want to be added to this Cavalier Discord chat. If you want to support the show in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a member over on Patreon or on YouTube. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. But even if you don't, I'll still be here, even if I'm angry and shouting and yelling and screaming at some of you guys. Take it easy. Go Cavs.